We are with a great lawyer, a great person, Patrick Croke.
Thank you.
He's a Harvard lawyer. He currently works at the Sidley Austin on multiple sectors, but he has a very interesting hobby and passion. Is that he is very politically involved with the Democratic Party here in the U.S. Tell us a little bit about your career as a lawyer.
Sure. So I'm from Chicago. My family's been here forever. And I came back as soon as I got done with law school. I was offered a job to go work as a lawyer for the Obama campaign in 2008. So I went off to Des Moines immediately and worked as a lawyer for, sort of out of Des Moines, covering all of Iowa. So whatever legal issues there were, everything from events that were going to take place to the door knockers to what was going to go on the internet, on the website and things like that, but covering a whole host of legal issues for the Obama campaign in 2008. I've been here about 8.5 years. I'm in our litigation department. I've tried a number of large cases, small cases, big clients, small clients. I do a lot of litigation, but I'm a little bit unique in what we call big law, so the Sidley Austins of the world, in that I also do a range of transactional work and all kinds of other things with companies that are trying to be formed, trying to raise money, raise capital, seeking to sell themselves.
Related with the fundraising actions you have taken, what are the main challenges you have found so far?
You mean on the legal side or in political?
I would say political.
So a big one is donor fatigue. So as campaigns become longer and longer and candidates get in earlier and earlier in these things, what happens is you flip straight from having an election in November, or if it's a city election in March, whatever it is, sort of into the next cycle. And you have all of these folks who have donated a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy. Some of them may be excited about their candidate winning. Some of them are disappointed about their candidate losing. In any event, in terms of fundraising, you have a lot of people who have donated a lot of money already, and all of a sudden you're turning around and saying, we'd like you to donate more for this next cycle that's going to be coming up 2 years from now.
True. I guess this recent election has taught us a lot about raising money. Maybe it has how the voters take action. No. What are your main thoughts about what our political situation right now?
Well, I mean, there's a lot to be said about the last election, right? I think the first...
In terms of not going too passionate about it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, so one is, I think that what I'm noticing as I'm talking to some younger voters, younger people who maybe didn't vote, younger folks who are now engaged in the process, a lot of women who are engaged in the process who weren't engaged in the process before, who, I think have seen what I always say to people, which is elections have consequences. And so I hope, I always say for me, I was in college in 2000 when the Bush-Gore election happened. And I really got motivated to get involved in politics, even more so in 2004, when I sort of saw the Democratic Party losing its footing, I thought, its identity and its...
So it's not the first time that this happened.
No, and my point, well, I mean, it's different this time because of just how extreme we ended up in terms of the president and some of the policies. But my hope is that this election is a catalyst to get more people engaged in the process. Because I think the more we can get folks engaged in the process, the better off we're going to be as a society, and also just in terms of our elections.
Okay, that's
So I think that's one. I think that's one impact. Of where we are today. The other is, I think that it's, the election is in part a product of two parties that I think are going through a big generational shift, and two parties who are going through somewhat of an identity crisis. And it's it's not untrue of the Republican Party simply because Donald Trump won the election. I think you're seeing, as this healthcare debate is going through, that there's a lot of crisis within the Republican Party. And I think if you talk to Republicans in Illinois about Donald Trump, you'll find that many of them don't like him. Many of them didn't vote for him, some did. But I think there's a crisis a little bit in terms of the Republican Party's identity, and I think that's not going to get any better with this president because it's really pushing. You can have a great impact as an elected official, and we've got some wonderful elected officials in the city, in the state, and in this country. But you can also have an impact on just your block, right? If you can be a leader in your block. And you see countless examples of these people who are, starting new nonprofits and addressing problems. And I know the Obama Foundation is getting involved in some of this stuff. I'm on the board of a nonprofit called Urban Initiatives.
Yeah.
It was started by a friend of mine that I went to high school with. And he was a substitute teacher over in Cabrini, and his kids didn't have any after-school programming, so we took him out to the field and started playing soccer with him. He was, at the time, in what I would consider a fairly dangerous place to just be sort of standing outside in a park. The area's changed a lot since then, but and that's grown to an organization that serves 30 schools and 15,000 CPS students, and it does so through soccer programming. But their curriculum is based on improved health and improved academic excellence, improved leadership, improved character. There are a lot of leaders out there. There's a lot of buzzwords like thought leadership and other things. Once we agree that the status quo is not working, that we are leaving students disadvantaged and not prepared to enter into the economy, right? Because they're not getting proper education from kindergarten all the way up. If we can't agree that that's not working, I don't know how we're going to talk about solutions. Once we agree on that, then you tell me a solution, and if it makes sense, then we should try it, right? And that's true across a range of things, whether it's political strategy or the nonprofit world or starting a company that is for-profit in the business world, whatever it is. And I'm very encouraged by the leadership that I see nationally, but in particular the folks that I see doing great things here in the city of Chicago.
Well, just to wrap it up a little bit,
Yeah.
we're coming up to the end of our talk. I remember once you told me that a professor of yours told you once that there was 3 things key in life.
Yeah, so I was telling you about Newt Minow, who actually ran Sidley Austin. He's also the only, I think, remaining living agency head from the John F. Kennedy administration. And, I don't have a lot of people that I call mentors for whatever reason. But he has been not only a mentor, but he and his wife Jo have been just incredible friends to me. And I said to him one day, I talk a lot to folks who are just out of college or in college or trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives. Because I certainly don't pretend that when I got out of school I knew what I was going to do or how I was going to do it. And I was telling him that I always tell people, look, focus on who you want to be. And the what you want to be will work itself out. No one wants to be 90 years old and thinking about all the things that they were in terms of the what, but not achieving the who. And he said, it's interesting that you say that because I've always told people you need to ask yourself 3 questions. How do you perceive yourself? How do others perceive you? And how do you want others to perceive you? And essentially when the answer to those 3 questions converges, then that's really the goal, right? And that's the way I put it. That's the who do you want to be. Okay. Being a good lawyer or an elected official, all those things are fine and things to be proud of and things to strive for. But I think it's far more important that you be who you want to be, that you be impactful, that you be a good man, that you be a good father and a good husband and a good friend, a good son, a good daughter, a good brother, a good sister.